As a psychiatrist, I've obviously had a lot of formal training. I've also gone out and done a lot of, if you will, non-traditional training, and have been involved with a lot of self-growth, self-development kinds of activities. I find that the Sedona Method captures the essence of what so many systems of self-growth and self-development are trying to accomplish, and that is to teach people to let go of what their blocks are so that they can move on and become the way they want to be. I was impressed by the simplicity of the Sedona Method. I was impressed by the power of the Sedona Method. It really works. The reason it works is because it's a how-to technique. It's not a philosophy. It's practical. Here's how you do it. It has kind of an augmentative function. Whatever you've done in the past, you can take the Sedona Method, apply it to what you've done, and it will make it that much more effective. It's portable. You can do it right on the spot. You don't have to wait until that evening to be able to go off and get by yourself to let go of what's bothering you. Lastly, the effects are cumulative. I've gone through trainings, a lot of people have, and as time goes on, the effects of the training wear off. If you are consistent with a method, if you use it on a daily basis, the effects become more and more powerful as time goes on.
It's made a tremendous amount of difference. I can tolerate a much higher level of stress, for instance, at work or in the transition I've gone through in going through a divorce and having moved out of my home and moved away from my son. It's amazing to me my ability to handle and cope with that. And I know that if I didn't have the method, that would have been so hard to do.
You know, I think a lot of people will be thinking, is this right for me? Is the Sedona Method going to help change my life for the better? And with the proliferation of all kinds of self-help materials out there, I'm sure a lot of questions come across their individual minds. And I would say it helps everyone. It's a tremendous benefit. It's something that you can take that will, I think, make a great deal of change in your life, as it has me and has a number of people who I've worked with and encountered. So I would definitely go for it because it's a beautiful thing.
Hello, my name is Jim McMullen, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this program today. I could go on listing all the benefits that I've received from the Sedona release technique, but unlike so many others, this course is not about what I gained, but about what I lost. Now that may sound strange to you now, but I've found that we must drop our limitations, that less is really more. Less limitation is more unlimitedness. I found that as I conscientiously used the technique, I began to see the real me emerging. As I dropped many of those unwanted feelings and thoughts, I began to experience myself as lighter, more alive, more giving, more energetic, more loving, and of course, much happier. I noticed that the unconscious negative feelings I'd been carrying around for so many years were not the real me after all, and that I, like everyone else, was someone very special, covered up by all those thoughts, considerations, and ideas that were holding me back. Today is going to be a very special day for you, because the program that you're about to participate in will show you how to better all the areas of your life. Now, most programs come from the premise that you are imperfect and that you need to develop yourself into perfection. The release technique turns this around. We're saying that you are already perfect and you have no limitations except those you hold on to. All you need to do is let go of your limitations and become unlimited. We'll show you how you can let go of the blocks that stop you from having, being, and doing whatever you want in life. You can let go of the negative emotions that get in your way. Once you participate in this program, you'll start to experience ultimate happiness, joy, success, and health in your life. You'll learn how to reach the state of imperturbability where no one and no thing can disturb you. You'll learn how to have whatever you choose with ease. This course is completely different from any course you've ever experienced. Other techniques may show you how to cope with, manage, or handle your stress and uncomfortable feelings, but what you'll learn on these tapes is how to eliminate them, release them for good. Now, no one has to tell you that you're living in very challenging times, because the release technique works on the spot in any situation. It will help you to be in control of your life no matter what's going on around you. The release technique is developed over all of the 8 tapes. Each tape builds a solid foundation for the tapes that follow. You won't have the whole technique until you've completed all 8 tapes and the accompanying workbooks. Follow the instructions on the tape. They will experientially guide you through the learning of this process. If you're viewing this tape without your own set of workbooks, please stop now and order a set before you continue. You must have your own set of workbooks and complete them in order to learn the release technique. We say that you have the answer to everything you've been seeking right within you, and the technique you are about to learn will give you the how-to. You're in for a treat, because these tapes have the power to transform every area of your life and give you a practical skill that will be yours from now on. Now let me turn you over to Hale Dwoskin, the CEO and Director of Training of the Sedona Institute.
Good morning and welcome. I'm glad you could join us this morning. What we'll be doing over the next 4 days and over the next 8 segments of this tape is learning a wonderful and powerful way of letting go of those uncomfortable feelings, that stress that's been stopping you from having everything that you choose. Back in 1976, I was in the same place that you are now. I was about to embark on something I knew very little about. I'd heard many good things about it, but I really wasn't sure what I was getting myself into. But as the course unfolded and as I just stayed open to the process, I was very happily surprised. Actually, it way exceeded all my expectations. In fact, that's why I'm standing here. This many years later, I've gotten so much benefit from this course that I've decided to help others. And just to give you some of the areas in my life that have changed, I've lost weight, my relationships are better, I've used it to become successful in business. In fact, I can't think of an area in my life that hasn't been positively changed from using this technique. But the thing that I like most of all is that as I've been using this technique over the years, it keeps getting better. The more I use it, the better it gets. And also, a wonderful thing is it happens as you keep using this technique. The more you use it, the calmer you feel inside, no matter what is going on around you. So now, no matter what happens in my life, even if it does disturb me for a moment, there's still a sense of equanimity within me that never leaves. Now also, those of you who are taking the class this morning and those of you who are going to be participating at home have the added benefit of having 2 instructors. Usually there's just 1 instructor in the class. But what we'll be doing for the benefit of all of you, those of you here and those of you at home, is we'll be having, in addition to me teaching part of the class, Nikki Warner, one of our chief instructors, will also be joining us and presenting some of the material, helping you at home release, as well as me. So I'd like to have Nikki Warner come up and introduce her, and then I'll let her take the next part.
Well, good morning and welcome everybody. And to those of you at home, welcome. It's just wonderful to have you here. I took the course myself 5.5 years ago, and I took it in New York. As you can probably tell, I am not from this country. I'm from England. So first of all, those of you here, if there's anything I say that you're not quite clear about or a phrase I use that you're not familiar with, please feel free to stop me. As I was saying though, I took the course 5.5 years ago, and I was in New York working in the garment district when I heard about the seminar. And it was my employer who told me about it. I took the course not really knowing what to expect at all. And what I found was some very profound changes really started to take place almost immediately. I found that the technique started to change every area of my life. It started to change how I was at work. It started to change how I felt about myself. It started to change how my interaction and my relationships with the people I was meeting, new people, also with my family when I actually went back to England. And in fact, what it did is I would definitely have described myself as a shy, fairly reserved person at first. And what it did was it really helped me to break out of that. It really helped me in terms of, instead of holding back from people, I started to be much more assertive. I started not feeling kind of afraid of people. I started wanting to really be with them. I felt much more open about people, much better about myself. And the more I used the technique, the more that just kind of kept growing inside until it just started to change something. And in fact, that in itself really started to change every area of my life very profoundly. So you're going to have a lot to look forward to over the next 8 tapes and this next 4 days, because you're going to find things that are life-changing for you in areas that you're interested in areas you want to improve. And it's just going to open a tremendous amount of doors. And as you use the technique, you're going to find it just keeps on getting better and better. I've been using it now for 5.5 years, and it's still as fresh as the day that I learnt it. In fact, I get more gains today because they keep on growing. And so you're going to have that to look forward to ongoing as you use the technique. So you're in for a wonderful surprise these next 8 tapes and these next 4 days. We're going to have a great time. Well, let me introduce to you the course materials that we'll be using. Those of you at home, there's really only 3 things that you're going to need. And I'll go over those with you, that is, apart from yourself also, and here in the group. The first is the workbook. Workbook, week 1. You'll notice that you have several workbooks there, 5 in all. We will just be using this one workbook for the time being. So don't worry about the others. I'll let you know when you need to pull those out and use them. The other is this small 3x5 book. This is a book we call our Gains book, and you're going to be needing this right throughout the 8 segments of the tape and all of the time that you're in the live seminar here, and in fact ongoing from then also. So make sure you have this around and handy. So the third thing you're going to need is this large chart. You'll notice in your package at home that you have this. It's a chart with a lot of emotions on. We're going to be using this a lot in the next 2 days of the class and also in the next 4 tapes. So have it somewhere handy where you can look at it. You'll be using it as reference a terrific amount. Okay, so let me hand you back to Hale. He's going to tell you some more about the course.
The course that we're going to be experiencing together, those of you here and those of you at home, is very different than anything you've experienced before. What I mean by that is many of us have taken classes where there's a lot of information that we have to remember. You'll notice as we go through this course, it's not about the information, but it's about learning a skill or learning an ability that we actually all already have, but we seldom use, and that's our ability to let go. And the whole course is presented in a way that it's experiential as opposed to intellectual. And so as much as you can, as you're working here in the classroom and also as you're viewing the tapes at home, try to feel, not think. Focus here even. When I ask you what you're now feeling is, see if you can focus on this part of your anatomy. Now, if you don't feel something here right away, don't worry about it. As the course is designed to help you become more in touch with your emotions, in addition to learning how to let them go. But the important thing to remember is that it is experiential. If someone had told you, had given you a book about how to ride a bicycle, and you read it cover to cover, I'm sure you would agree that even after reading the book about how to ride a bicycle, if you just read a book and you never had any experience on the bicycle, someone handed you a bicycle and said, here, ride, I think you might have gotten a few pedals and you'd be on the floor. Because it's not, again, riding a bicycle is also an experiential thing. But just like riding a bicycle, once you learn how to ride a bicycle, you get on the bicycle. Once you've gotten that sense of balance, you don't really think about it anymore. You just ride. The same thing will happen as you use this technique. The more you work with it, you'll get to a point where it becomes second nature. You just get on the bicycle and you keep riding. And so it becomes, even though you have to think about it a little, you have to apply yourself a little bit in the beginning. As you keep going with it, it gets easier and easier to do. Also, the process itself can be subtle at times. Most of us are hoping that when we learn anything new, that the sky is going to open and Gabriel is going to come down with his horn. Well, that might not happen the first morning or on your first tape segment. Now, I'm not saying it won't happen any point during this course, but what will happen as you start applying the technique is that you see that each thing we do sets a solid foundation for the next thing we do. And all it requires is your persistence. The more you apply yourself to using this technique, the more you'll get out of it. And you won't always feel a release right away. Sometimes you'll be working with a technique, you'll know something is going on, but you're not even sure what. In fact, I had someone who took the class about a year ago in Houston, and she was participating, but at the end of the class, one of the last things she shared in the class is that, I still have yet to feel my first release. I haven't felt a thing. However, I came to the class as an insomniac. I hadn't slept in 20 years. And since the first night of the class, I've been sleeping totally okay. And then she went through a whole other list of benefits she had gotten. So if you're not sure you're releasing, just be persistent. Because you might not be aware of every release. But if you keep practicing the technique, it gets easier and easier to do until you'll be sure that you're doing it. Also, the releasing is done through a series of questions. You'll see that the questions might even seem a little unusual in the beginning, but if you bear with it and just follow along as I ask you the questions at home or ask you the questions here or as you're watching others being guided through the process, you'll see that the questions will make a lot more sense as you practice them. What the questions are designed to do is give you an experience of letting go. And they don't have to make sense at first. In fact, they might not. But if you're willing to keep practicing the questions and keep working with them, you'll see that they'll start to more and more facilitate that process of letting go. And another thing about questions, if you have questions come up as you're sitting here or as you're sitting at home, you notice that we handle questions very differently during this course. If I just gave you an intellectual answer to every question that you had, I think you can see that you'd end up with lots of more information, but not necessarily with a way to find your own answers. And what we like to do here, and what we're trying to do on this whole 4-day course and this whole 8 segments of the tape, is get each one of you to the point where whenever you have a question, whether it's about this releasing process or anything in your life, that you can find your own answers. Once you've learned how to find your own answers, that's always with you. So if you have a question, please ask it. However, I might answer it with a question. What I mean by that is if you have a question, I'll probably try to help you find what the feeling is that's causing you to ask that question. Once you release it, you'll see you'll start to find your own answers. And you at home, if questions come up, try the same thing. Try using the process on the question itself, and you'll see that you'll start to find your own answers. Also, as far as participating is concerned, it's very important to participate. The more you participate, the more you'll get out of the class. Now, there are many ways to participate. If you're here actually in the class, if you volunteer to work with the instructor, you'll get benefit out of that. But there are many other ways to participate. One, it's very important, both those of you here and those of you at home, to do your best to practice the releasing process as others are being guided through the process. What I mean by that is, even if their problem is not something you can relate to right away, just focus on what your feeling is in the moment. And as they're being guided through the process, just allow yourself to release along with them. The more you do that, the more you'll get out of the class. And that practicing on your own is how you make this whole technique your own. Now, another important way of participating for those of you here and those of you at home is working in the workbooks. We're going to emphasize that point a lot, because if the more you work with the workbooks, work with each release sheet, take as much time as you need to work with them, the more you'll get out of this class. In fact, the workbooks, working with those release sheets, is the key to really learning the release technique in a way that will be yours for the rest of your life. So it's very important to participate in that way. Do your best to work in the workbooks and keep working in the workbooks until you've completed them. Also, this is a do-it-yourself technique. What I mean by that is, I think you can see already from the way I've described it, you're really going to have to do it. All we are here to do, Nikki and I, is to facilitate the process that once started will be then something that you can do on your own. So it is a do-it-yourself technique. And again, that's something I'll remind you about quite often as the course goes on. Because our goal, by the end of the 4 days of this class and by the end of the 8 tapes, is to make you 100% self-sufficient. So that if you never see anyone from the Sedona Institute again, if you never look at another tape, you have that technique inside for you to use from then on. It's yours 100%, and that's very important to us. We want to make you 100% self-sufficient. Also, I'd like to suggest that you leave your preconceived notions behind. Many of you have heard many things about this course, or you've got a flyer in the mail, or you heard about it on television. But however you found out about the course, you probably have expectations based on what you heard and also based on other classes you may have done before. As best you can, put those aside. It's kind of like if someone told you to go see a terrific movie and they made the mistake of telling you a lot about the plot. What's the first thing you do when the lights go down in the theater? You try to forget everything you've heard about it, so you can just be there in the moment and experience the course moment to moment. If you're willing to do that with these tapes and here in the class, you'll see you'll get a tremendous amount out of the course. So whatever you've heard about it, whatever you've ever done to grow, put that aside for now and just be here with what we're doing. So again, you're really in for a treat. These 4 days and the 8 segments of these tapes are going to give you a lot more than you can even imagine at this point. Now, those of you at home and also those of you here, please turn in your workbook to the page that says, what would I like to get from this course? Now, before you take some time to fill it out, I just want to say a couple of things about it. Make this a wish list of anything you could possibly change or improve in your life. It might be hard to imagine how 4 days of a class or 8 segments of a videotape could really change all the things in your life that you're wanting to change. But believe me, this technique is a lot more powerful than you can possibly imagine right now. The benefits that you will achieve will far outstrip all your expectations. Plus, it's a technique that will be with you for the rest of your life. So once you start applying it, you'll continue to see benefits. So write down anything that you could possibly want to change or improve in your life, and then we'll move on. What we're going to do now is just talk a little bit about the chart of emotions. And again, if you make sure you have it out here and also at home. Now, this chart is an objectification of your subconscious mind. What I mean by that is, as you work with this chart, you'll see there's very little that you experience every day that can't fit into one of these categories. Every feeling that we have, you'll find will fit into one of these categories. And now the reason they're in categories is it really helps. Very often when we think of our subconscious, it's almost like our junk drawer. You know, you don't even want to look at it because you've got so many things thrown in there, all jumbled up together. But if you think about your junk drawer again, or I don't know, some people have a junk drawer, they have a junk room, a junk garage. You know, we tend to collect things. Well, we do the same thing with our subconscious. We hold on to a lot of things from the past, and they manifest consciously as our feelings, and they push us around a lot. But most of us don't want to look at our subconscious of the fact that it's all kind of jumbled up together. Now, one of the purposes of this chart is to help you sort it all out. If you again think of your junk room or junk drawer, if you imagine what would happen if everything was categorized and put in little boxes, you would occasionally look for something in there instead of saying, forget it, I'll just buy a new one. I'm not going to look for it. Well, when you have your mind, your subconscious mind, a little better organized like this, and the way your feelings work a little better organized like this, it demystifies them. It makes it easier for you to just become aware of what you're feeling in the moment and be able to start to know what to do with it. Now, if you notice, there are many categories. There's apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, pride, courageousness, acceptance, and peace. And there are many feelings underneath each one. And what we'll be doing throughout this class is you'll start by getting in touch with whatever feeling you're aware of in the moment. And if it isn't necessarily a grief or an apathy, if you're not aware of it like that, what you'll do is you'll trace it back up to the emotional category. Now, the reason we do that is that every time you let go of a little bit of grief, you're letting go of all of these feelings underneath it. So it's much more powerful to let go of grief than to let go of hurt, for instance. So when you trace them back, each feeling back to the underlying feeling, the underlying emotional category, and let go of that, you'll see you move a lot quicker. Also, this chart is organized as a scale of action. In apathy, I think you can see, if you're feeling apathetic, you're not going to get very much done at all. In fact, you'll probably just want to stay in bed all day, and you probably even have had days like that, or know people who have. Whereas, as you move up, you have even, I bet you never thought of grief as being up from anywhere. But grief has a little more energy than apathy, and so on. As you move up this scale, by the time you get into the courageousness, acceptance, and peace, you have a tremendous amount of energy to accomplish positive things. And every time you use the technique, you'll see as you completely let go of any emotion, you'll find you have a tendency to move in this direction. You'll have a tendency to feel better and better. You'll basically, it's interesting, the chart's organized this way, but it's kind of like this. All of these emotions are covering over our courageousness, acceptance, and peace. So as you release your apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, and pride, you'll start uncovering your courageousness, acceptance, and peace. Imagine what that's going to be like, to uncover all your courageousness, acceptance, and peace. It's going to make a tremendous difference in your life. And we're also going to do something radical by tomorrow. We're even going to start letting go of them. And the reason we do that is that the goal of this course is to help you achieve a state of imperturbability. It's a hard word to say. It's a long word. But the reason we use it is it has a lot of meaning. Imperturbability is a state where no one or no thing can disturb you ever again. Now imagine that. Imagine even as you can see, the world is in a state of crisis right now. And you may even be experiencing your own personal crises at home or at work. But imagine what it would be like to be imperturbable right in the middle of that situation. It's absolutely wonderful to be able to be unshakable even if things are not going your way. And that imperturbable state is not boring. It can be absolutely ecstatic. So as you keep working with the technique that you'll be learning over the next 4 days and next 8 segments of this tape, you'll learn everything you need to reach that top state of imperturbability. And it will be yours from then on. So I think that we said enough about the chart. Now remember to leave it out in front of you. And whenever you need to get a little assistance of getting in touch with what you're feeling in the moment, you can use this chart. In fact, you can just read through this chart, maybe when you're at home or while you're on a break from watching the tapes, and you'll see it will help you get in touch with your feelings a lot more, and you'll be able to do a lot more releasing. So remember to leave it out in front of you. Now I'm going to have Nikki come back up again, and we'll go over another important thing that we'll be working with, which is the Gaines book.
We'll be using the Gaines book a lot over the next 4 days of the class, and all throughout the segments of the tape, have this handy. You'll be using it a lot. What it's for is to validate your progress. You'll find that as you begin to use the technique and you're having these wonderful gains, you're going to want to write them down. A gain is when you now feel good, when before you were feeling bad. It's really very simple. But one of the things that we do in our everyday life is really to associate with the negative. We're very hard on ourselves. We always look at the bad things we do and not the good. This is going to help you to change that habit. It's going to help you to turn it around and instead start associating with those good things. It's really going to support you in your use of the technique. We also have a tendency to not really be able to see for ourselves how much we're growing or how well we're really doing. So this is really going to validate your progress. It's going to be a very important record for you to have as to your releasing. In fact, you'll look at this book in 3 months' time and you'll be amazed as to really what you've already let go of, how your life has already changed dramatically. The other thing it's going to do is it's small for a reason. It's small so you can carry it around in your pocket or your purse because it's going to serve as a reminder for you to release. You'll just see it in your pocket or you'll see it in your bag and you'll remember to use the technique. And that's going to help you enormously also. Gains don't always just come in the form of you now feel good when before you felt bad either. You'll also notice that when you use it and you write down your gains, something else you'll be aware of is that you'll start to have insights about yourself. You'll start to have realizations about other people, about the way they are. And write those things down. Those things are really important too. They're key things for you. If somebody else tells you those things, you might listen for 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe you'll have forgotten it a day later. If you've discovered it for yourself, that means so much more. So do write those things down. They'll be an important part of your progress also. So keep this handy. You'll be using it a lot. Okay, back to Hale.
Back to our workbooks. Turn now to the page in your workbook that says the 3 ways of handling a feeling. In fact, that's the next page right after what I would like to get from the course. And what we'll do now is we'll go over what we usually do with feelings and what we'll be learning here as we learn the release technique. Now, the thing that we're doing with feelings most of the time is we're suppressing them. And what we mean by that is a feeling comes up and we push it back down. Now, sometimes we're aware that we're doing it. Someone says something in a situation, maybe at work. Your boss says something you don't like, and you go, oh, I wish he didn't say that. And but I don't want to let him see, and you push it back down. Now, it's not always that conscious. Unfortunately, we've all gotten so good at suppressing that it's going on automatically all the time. We don't even realize we've done it until maybe a day later, someone will say something totally unrelated, and we'll explode at them. And we don't even know why. Or we'll think we've just made the most objective decision of our lifetime, only to discover the next day, oh my God, how could I have thought that? Again, that's because we are feeling suppressed, and every time a feeling is suppressed, it prevents us from seeing clearly and acting appropriately in the moment. Now, another way you might notice that you've suppressed a feeling is that you all of a sudden start to develop the symptoms of a stress-related illness. You thought everything was fine, you had it all handled, and all of a sudden your doctor tells you have an ulcer. Now, if you have an ulcer, not everything is all fine. There aren't too many people where everything's fine out there that have an ulcer. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having ulcers, but what I am saying is that when you start to, when you use your feelings and push them back down, when you suppress them, that's the worst thing that we can do with our feelings, and we are doing it all the time. Now, another way that people suppress their feelings when they aren't always aware that they're doing it is by escaping them. You know, suppression is when we do this. Escaping is like, well, I'll go out and have a drink, I'll watch television, I'll go out and play a hard game of handball, I'll do something to get away from the feeling. But the only reason we're getting away from it, but now we have it back here, we're pretending it's not there, but really all we're doing is taking our attention off it long enough so we can push it back down. You're just really keeping it suppressed. Now, the other thing that we do with our emotions a lot of the time, or some of the time, is that after we've been suppressing them for a long period of time, the pressure builds up. It's almost like a pressure cooker. And it builds up, and it builds up, and you can't hold it in anymore, and then you express. Someone says something, and all of a sudden you start to cry. Or someone says something at work or at home, and you blow up. You start yelling and screaming, and you don't even know what you're talking about. That's expression. When you take the feeling and you put it into action. Instead of pushing it back down, you let off a little steam and you throw it at someone. That's expression. Now, that might feel temporarily better, but it really doesn't solve the underlying problem. The solution to the underlying problem is learning how to release. That's what these whole 4 days and 8 tapes are about. You learning how to tap your natural ability to not do this, but learn how to do this. Learn how to let go in the moment of whatever feeling is bothering you. And everyone here, and those of you watching at home, have already had experiences of releasing. To give you an example of what it feels like, think back to the last time you had a really good belly laugh. You know how good that felt? In fact, what do you usually do when someone's feeling bad? You try to get them to laugh, to cheer them up, you try to make them feel better. Well, what's happening there is very often when you laugh, it's the external manifestation of a release happening. Now what we'll be doing here is we'll be showing you how to get that same internal result, tap that same natural ability without ever needing to smile. Now you might find yourself laughing quite a bit as you use this technique, and you might not. In fact, some of the biggest releases are totally silent. One moment you're just feeling really upset, you catch yourself in that feeling, you use the technique, and it just dissolves. And you just feel your whole body relax. Sometimes you just start laughing hysterically because all of a sudden you realize what you've been doing is totally ridiculous. However the release manifests, just allow it to happen. So rather than let's talk about it some more, why don't we just get right into action? So who has a feeling they'd like to let go of? Now those of you at home, you'll get your opportunity to release as well. But what I'd like you to do now is just follow along as I work with the people here in the group. Also, what we'll be doing throughout these 8 tapes is we'll occasionally be watching people here releasing, and we've also videotaped quite a few other classes in order to bring to you the best examples of what releasing can be like, and also the best examples that are most demonstrative of how you can start using the technique. So just sit back and you'll have your chance to release as well. And also practice along with the people here. Those of you here, I'd like you to do the same thing. Practice along as I start leading people through the process. The more you practice as others are releasing, the faster you'll get a hold of this new technique to use for yourself. So who has a feeling they'd like to let go of?
How about a little bit of fear?
Okay, you feel some fear? Okay.
Uneasiness, maybe?
What?
Uneasiness?
Yes, well that's a fear feeling, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So now just allow yourself to feel it for a moment.
Okay.
Could you let it go? Could you?
Maybe for a minute.
Okay. We would just let go a little bit. Would you? Let it go?
Okay.
When?
Hmm?
When?
Okay, I'm trying to let it go now.
Okay, good. All right, just go back to the feeling. Do you still feel, just feel the rest of the fear. Can you still feel some fear?
Some uneasiness.
Okay, so just let yourself feel it. Could you let it go? Could you?
Yes.
Would
Okay.
you?
Yes.
When?
Now?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, go back to, how do you feel now? Do you feel a little lighter?
Not as uneasy.
Yeah, okay, but there's still some uneasiness, which is a fear feeling, right? So just let yourself feel the fear. Okay, could you let it go? Could you?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
Now?
Okay, good. All right, how does it feel now? Is there still a little bit of fear left?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well just feel the remaining fear. Could you let it go?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
No. It just went away. I did. I felt it go away.
Great. Okay. So how do you feel now?
Better.
We keep talking about letting go. How do you do that? Well, it's very simple. If you would all just pick up a pencil or a pen, and those of you at home, I'd like you to join me on this too, and just hold it out in front of you for a minute. Well, first of all, I want you to know that you certainly know how to hold on to the pen or pencil. That's very easy. We're all very good at that. And we've also gotten very good at holding on to our feelings. Now, in fact, we've gotten so good at it, we forget that we can just do this. Just let it go. Again, let it go. That's what we're talking about when we say let go of a feeling. It's that simple. Now, I know it might be a little hard to accept that at first, because what we usually do is we think that the pencil is glued to our palm. You know, we usually feel like our feelings have us. It isn't true. Every feeling is something that we are in control of if we're willing to take control. You can realize that you're holding on to it, and you always have the choice of letting it go. So that's something to remember as you're working with the process, or if you ever feel like you're getting a little stuck, remember you're the one holding on to the feeling. It's your feeling, no one else's, and you can let it go. Anyone else have something they'd like to release? Yes, Dave.
I have an individual at work that is probably less than cooperative, somewhat disruptive, etc. And it stirs up a lot of anger. And I am afraid that I will allow that anger to get the upper hand of better judgment. And I wouldn't want to do something that I would feel would be contrary to the way I would like for it to be.
All right. So just see what your now feeling is about it. When you think of this person, just picture them for a minute, and maybe the last time you had an interaction with them that was less than satisfactory.
Okay. All right.
All right. Now just see what your now feeling is about it.
Anger.
Anger? Okay, so now just allow yourself to feel the anger.
Okay. Not difficult.
Okay, good. Now that you're feeling it, could you let it go? Would you?
Yeah.
When?
Deep-seated.
So you let go a little bit, but you're holding on to some, right? Okay, you're
Still more.
There's still more, okay. So just look, sometimes that will happen. You'll need to go, if it's a big issue, it might not leave in one release. But if you're willing to be persistent, no matter how long-standing, no matter how big the issue is, you can release it. So now just allow yourself to feel it again. Just allow yourself to feel the anger. Can you feel it? Could you let it go?
I can.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
No. Yeah, I did. I let more go.
Okay. Now you still have some left, don't you?
Oh, yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, this has been a long-standing daily occurrence of having opportunities with this person, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. So just think of the person again. And just allow yourself to feel that now feeling of anger.
Okay.
Could you let it go? Could you?
I think what I'm trying to do is actually hold on to it so I've got something to retaliate with.
Okay. By the way, that's not unusual. First of all, it's a good insight. I would write that down. But that's not unusual. Very often we hold on to a feeling, we save it because we think we can use it for something. But if you think about it, wouldn't you communicate a lot more easily and effectively with this person without the anger?
Oh, yes, yes.
Would you rather get even or would you rather let it go?
Oh, I'd rather have the individual productive.
Okay. So how long have you been angry at this person?
Months.
Months. And how effective has it been to motivate them to be more productive?
It's been difficult.
Right.
Been very difficult.
So maybe it's time to let go of the anger.
Okay.
Now just allow yourself to feel that now feeling of anger.
Okay.
Could you allow it to release? Could you?
Yeah. Okay.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
Wow. I think I let quite a bit go.
Yeah,
There's
you did.
still more there. But
All right. Now just feel the rest of it. Again, you have the ability to let go of anything when you decide to.
Okay.
So just feel the remaining anger.
Okay.
Could you let it go? Could you?
Yes.
Would you?
Yeah.
When?
Now. Yeah, I feel lighter about it. Think a little more clear.
Okay. Well, let's do one more release.
Okay.
And then I'll let you keep going on your own. So just allow yourself to feel the anger at this person again.
Okay.
Okay. Could you allow it to release? Could you just decide to let it go?
Mm-hmm.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
Okay. No.
Does it feel better?
Much. Much better.
I wasn't sure if we're just trying to go along with the program, or if there's really something there, or if
Sure.
we're trying to talk ourselves into thinking that there's really something there.
Yeah. Well, that's all normal.
And that's skeptical,
stuff.
that's
Right.
skepticism, or it could be apprehension, I don't know.
Well, we'll see
Probably
which one.
But
Both are very
that's,
common. The first
that's what
one.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to do.
What are you more in touch with right now? The
What am I more in
skepticism,
touch with, right?
the skepticism, or
Probably, I would say being skeptical. Not that I don't want it to work or
Sure.
don't think it can, but I'm not sure.
But look, that's one of the feelings that comes up for most people in the beginning, especially when they see people letting go easily. It's like, come on.
But see, I'm not sure if they're letting go easily,
Right.
and I don't want. By all
Right.
means, I do not want to offend anybody at all,
I know.
because I'm sure that you're feeling what you say you're feeling. But I'm wondering if we're just trying to talk ourselves into it,
Yeah, I understand.
and just go along with and answer the questions, and
I
you know what I'm
understand.
saying. But
Sure.
is there really something happening?
Well, the only way to find out is for you to try it.
I knew that was coming.
You did, I know. That's why you were hesitant to raise your hand.
But
So just see what you're now feeling is. Just feel you're now feeling. What is it?
skepticism.
All right. And where is that on that chart there? Where would you say it is?
Well, I don't know if it would come under fear. Certainly not lust. Well, it could be, because I have a desire to know, but I'm being held back. I mean, there's still a wall up saying.
Apathy, too.
I don't know if it's
apathy.
It could be.
That was, yeah.
I guess
That was empty.
All right, so just see if you can feel the now feeling. I know you're not sure how to identify it, so let's not worry about that right now.
Yeah.
Just let yourself feel it. Now, could you let it go? Could you?
I don't know.
Okay. Again, try not to think about it. Try just to say yes and no. No is an acceptable answer. There is no right answer. But when the less you think about it, the easier it is to you to get in touch with that ability of letting go. So just feel the feeling. Could you let it go?
Sure. Sure, I think it's possible, sure.
Okay. Would you?
I certainly would. If,
When?
as soon as possible.
Okay, now just go back and just feel the feeling again.
I'm feeling a little more comfortable.
I know,
I'll be
you
honest.
did release, you released a bunch of it, but just feel the rest of it,
Mhm.
that uncomfortable part. Could you let it go?
Sure.
Would you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When?
Right now, I think so.
Okay, good. So how does it feel now?
Well, I'm feeling, like I said, I'm feeling a little more comfortable as we go.
Mm-hmm. By the way, sometimes when you're learning something new, you might notice that at first it can be a little difficult. And there's an interesting story that illustrates that, and it has to do with the way they train elephants. I don't know how many people know how they train elephants. But when an elephant is very small, what they do is they chain the elephant with a very heavy chain to a post. So what the elephant, as it's, baby elephant, it's very rambunctious, so it's always running around until it gets to the chain and it gets stopped. And they do that for a year or two, and so that the elephant really learns that whenever it feels that tug at its leg, it can't move anymore. And then as the elephant gets older, they make the chain smaller and smaller and smaller until it's just a rope. Now this enormous elephant is being held by this thin rope because he's been trained to think that that chain is really holding him there. And in a way, we're all like that elephant. We have these experiences as we're growing up. We're programmed by society, by our parents, by negative experiences that we have. Then what we do is we assume that we still have the chain on. So a lot of times we don't even challenge it. We don't even want to tug at the chain. In fact, for most of us, it's only a string. And that string is just our feelings. So as you start to let go of those feelings, you'll find that you'll start to open up and go into areas that you never even knew you were avoiding. You'll start to find yourself doing things that you've been putting off for years. You'll find yourself in areas of action that you thought you'd never be comfortable in. And it's just because you're finally letting go of the string that you used to think was a chain. So who else has something they'd like to release? Yes.
Last night I went into a supermarket and I saw these big giant cinnamon rolls with all this sugar and stuff on it, and I just really, really felt like I had to have it. And it's not something I normally, I don't like to do that. I don't like to indulge in that. So I just felt like it was, and I bought it and ate it. And I felt bad last night. I couldn't study. My mind was just so.
Okay. So what's your now feeling about doing that?
Well, I'm a little angry at myself.
All right. Now just allow yourself to feel the anger.
Okay.
Could you let it go?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
Now.
Okay, feel it again. Just feel the remainder of that anger. Can you feel it?
Right.
Okay. Could you let it go? Is that a yes? Would you?
Yes.
When?
Now.
Great. So how does it feel now?
I feel more compassion for myself.
Great. So you feel better about it? What's that?
It's okay.
It's okay. Okay, good. By the way, those of you here and those of you at home who are wondering how to maybe work on a weight problem, any kind of habit, I have a suggestion of a way you can immediately get started working on it. And it's very simple. Every time that you want to, say, reach for that cinnamon roll or that extra piece of pie or that thing you think you shouldn't eat, instead of trying to stop yourself from doing it, that's what we're always doing. We're struggling. We see that cookie and we go, oh no, I shouldn't eat it. And then you end up you have one cookie and you don't even enjoy it. Then you have 5 more and you feel terrible, so you finish the whole bag. And that's how we end up the way we are, having extra pounds. And we do the same thing with other habits. So rather than trying to, for right now, rather than trying to get yourself to stop eating, or stop, say you're working on smoking, rather than trying to get yourself to stop smoking right now, what I'd like you to do is something very simple. Every time that you decide you want to reach for a cigarette or you want to reach for that extra piece of pie, just make a pact with yourself that you'll release first. Now, after you've released, whatever feeling is motivating you to grow for that thing that you know is not good for you, if you still want it, let yourself have it. And keep doing that, and you'll see what will happen. I've had people in this class, I'll give you a couple of examples. First of all, in smoking, I've had people quit smoking just doing that one thing. All they did is they didn't try to stop the habit. They'd spent years trying to stop smoking. They spent years fighting with the habit and only got stronger. So what they did is they just released whatever was motivating them to do it, and they kept letting themselves do it, and they started smoking less and less and less until they stopped smoking completely. Another very interesting example is there was a woman named Diane Stilwell, who's an actress, who used the method many years ago to lose weight, and all she did is this one thing. Over the 2 weekends of the course, in between the 2 weekends of the course, instead of having a cinnamon roll, she went out and had a hot fudge sundae, the first one she'd had in 2 years. And up until that point, she had been, as she puts it, running from the fat monster. She'd been running and running and running. In fact, one of the things she was doing is she was exercising herself to death. She had ruined her knees. She was exercising so much, and she still couldn't get rid of the extra weight. So she did that, just that one simple thing. Every time she had the desire for food, she decided she would let herself have it if she wanted, but she needed to release first. And by doing that, the desire to overeat got less and less. And when she did eat, she enjoyed it more. So try that. If you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to stop smoking, try that one thing, and you'll see it will start opening up that particular habit and taking you out of its control. So who else had something they'd like to release? Well, whatever it is, just feel it. Yeah, tiredness is still apathy. Just let yourself feel it. Could you let it go?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
When?
Right now.
That's better. Okay, see how it is now.
That was a good one.
Yeah, you have to let go of a bigger chunk that time.
I'm better. I'm still tired. So.
Okay, well, let's just focus. Just let yourself feel the tiredness.
Yeah.
I mean, just really let it be there for a minute before we do anything with it. Okay. Could you let that apathy feeling go?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
When?
Now.
Okay, how's it now?
Better.
Okay, is there still some?
Yeah. Not as much though.
Okay.
I'm still tired though.
Yeah.
It's like, will my body eventually not be tired if we keep doing this thing all day?
Not eventually.
42 years of being this way. I don't know.
It's up to you, Cheryl, but you can release it right
I
now.
could, really?
Yes.
Oh, how nice.
So
Well,
just,
what's the fun
all right,
then?
well, just feel the tiredness.
Okay.
It's just an apathy feeling, that's all it is.
Mm.
Just let yourself feel it.
You don't think it's physical at all? I guess the mental controls that, right?
You're thinking about it.
I am.
Just go back to the feeling.
Okay.
Can you feel the tiredness? Okay, could you let that apathy feeling go?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
Now.
Okay, how does it feel now?
Better.
Okay, still some though, right?
Pretty tired, yeah.
What?
I'm pretty tired.
Yes. Okay, is it hard for you to accept that you could let it go?
I think it is because I've lived with it.
Right.
But not really. I have quite a understanding of abstract thought. Believe that anything's possible. So.
Right. I know, but on a feeling level, can you feel how you're holding on to it?
Yeah. Maybe it has serves a purpose in my life. That's another thing that's going through my mind.
Right.
I'm thinking.
Right. Thinking. And the ones you're having a hard time releasing.
I don't want to hang on to it like maybe.
Well, I think it's just a little attachment to the fish basket. That's all it is.
Yeah.
42 years of feeling this way. I can't live without it.
What would I talk about?
Find something else.
I'm kidding. Believe me, I'd love to say every day I slept 8 hours.
Right. All right. Well, just let yourself feel the feeling. Now, I'm going to be quiet for a minute. Just really let yourself feel it. It's just an apathy feeling. That's all it is. So just let yourself feel it. Could you let it go?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
Now.
That's it. Don't stop it. Just keep letting it go.
That was a good one, too.
Don't stop it. It's still going. Just let yourself keep going. It's all right.
Great.
You don't have to stop the release. Just let it keep going.
Okay, I'm not stopping it. So good for you guys.
Just keep letting it go. Okay. Now,
I do feel more energized.
Right.
Yeah.
See, it's just a feeling. Tiredness is just an apathy feeling, nothing more. So just go back to the feeling. Can you feel the rest of the tiredness that's left? Could you let it go?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
That's it. Just let it
I want to be tired when it's bedtime, though.
No problem.
Program that one in. That's great, you guys. It's so simple.
Yes. Okay, now it's your turn. Throughout the tape presentation, throughout the 8 tapes, you'll be having many opportunities to release as well with one of us as instructors. In fact, because you're taking it on video, you'll be having a lot more opportunities to work than someone usually would in a live seminar presentation. So just make yourselves comfortable and make sure you have your chart out in front of you and just allow yourself to become aware of your now feeling. And if you need to, you can think of a specific situation in your life that's bringing up a feeling for you. So just really allow yourself to feel your now feeling. And just take a moment and see if you can find it on the chart of emotions. And just allow yourself to feel that now feeling. Could you let it go? Would you? When? Now just feel that feeling again. Just really allow yourself to feel your now feeling. Could you let it go? Would you? When? Now again, just allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling in the moment. Just to really allow yourself to feel your now feeling. Could you let it go? Would you? When? Now take one more look inside and just allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling in the moment. And if it's a new feeling, something new coming up, just allow yourself to find where it fits on the chart of emotions. See if it's an apathy, a grief, a fear, a lust, an anger, a pride, whatever it is. Just really allow yourself to feel it. Could you let it go? Would you? When? Now take one more look inside and just allow yourself to feel your now feeling. Could you allow yourself to let it go? Would you? When? Now see if you can just allow yourself to continue doing that on your own. And remember, whatever answer you get to the questions is not important. Sometimes you'll start to notice that even when you say no to one of the questions, a release will happen anyway. In fact, sometimes you'll get a release on the could you, you'll get a release on the would you, and you'll get a release on the when. All of them are okay. Each question will get you further or deeper into the releasing process and will help accelerate your progress.
I was glad I took the course. And also, too, when I was in there, I saw other people releasing and seeing how that works, and I thought, I don't know if it'll work for me. And when it came to releasing on things that I knew I had a real problem with, and I could feel the difference and really experience the difference, and now that I've tested it, I'm still amazed, and I have to look back and say, gee, it's pretty good. It's almost too good to be true, but the main thing, it is true, and it really does work.
I can't believe that I could get where I am now with the kind of resistance I had then. It was against everything that I wanted to know or that everything I believed in. I had so many doubts, and I just kept doing it, and my friend who had the method just said, well, just sort of see and test it out. And I would only say to, if I may speak directly to anybody who has any doubts, it couldn't be worse than what I had. Stick with it, step by step, and you'll start to see, despite yourself, that this tool is incredibly powerful and it works.
Now we're going to be taking, as a group, we're going to be taking a break now. And I suggest you do the same thing at home and see if you can just keep your releasing going. Whatever it is that you started releasing on, just keep that releasing momentum going. And those of you here, I would suggest you do the same thing as we take about a 15-minute break.
Okay, the only thing I'd advise the home viewer is don't try and figure it out, because it's not something your mind can latch onto, and you just have to keep going through the releases one at a time and just trust that you'll get it, because you will.
So, welcome back. Just for those of you at home, just as a reminder, as I'm working with people here, or you're watching people release, keep focused on what it is that you're feeling now, and follow along. Allow yourself to use the technique. You may not necessarily relate to the same feeling that the person is experiencing at the moment. Use your feeling instead if you don't. That will give you lots of opportunity and practice in using the technique for yourself. Okay, so who would like to work next? Who has a feeling that they'd like to release? Okay, so Michael.
Yeah, I'm feeling confused.
All right. Do you have an idea where you'd put the confused feeling on the chart? Where it would go? Even sometimes, in fact, confusion sometimes is almost like kind of state of mind. You can be actually confused in any of the emotions. You might see if you can just get a sense of the kind of feeling there.
Well, what I'm confused about, because I actually do feel pretty well
Okay.
Is, I have a pain in my neck.
Oh.
I was in a car accident, and it started to bother me, and I didn't know if that would work or...
Well, let's try it and see. I'll just say that we're not medical people. I wouldn't prescribe, diagnose, or treat you. But we have found that so many of our illnesses or pain, physical pain, is stress-related. So maybe we could do some releasing on that.
Okay, great.
And see what happens. Okay. Well, a way to start it with, Michael, would be, how do you feel about having the pain? How does the pain make you feel?
It's annoying.
Okay, good. And that annoying feeling, where would you put that on the chart? Let's feel annoyed.
Probably anger. It's anger.
Okay, like a mild anger, all right, good. What I would like you to do is just to allow yourself to feel that annoyance when you think about having that pain.
Okay.
Okay. Could you let go of that anger feeling? It's just
Yeah,
a feeling.
probably.
Right. If you could, would you?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, good. When would you let it go? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Just see if you can feel any more of it there, Michael. That annoyance or anger feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, just let yourself feel it.
Okay.
Could you decide to let that feeling go?
Yes, I could.
Good. Would you?
Yeah, I would.
When? Okay. Good. Okay. Now, I want you to think about you having that pain again. Is there any more of the annoyed feeling or any
No,
other
there's
feeling?
not at all. No.
What's the feeling that's there now?
Feeling of success.
Oh, good. Okay. Where would you put that on the chart?
Happiness.
Success?
Acceptance, probably.
Yes. Yeah. Courageousness, acceptance area.
Yeah.
So like, when you mention the word success, it's like a feeling of, yes, I can.
Right.
You know, instead of, no, I can't. So great. Now, would you?
My neck feels better, too.
Terrific. Terrific. Would you say that that's a gain?
I certainly would. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so you might want to make a note of that in your gains book.
Okay, thank you.
It's okay, just let yourself feel it for a minute. You don't have to hold it in. Just let yourself feel that great feeling. Okay. Could you let it go?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
No.
That's it. Okay, just let yourself feel the rest of it. Still feel the grief? All right, could you let it go?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
Now.
Okay. See if you feel any more grief. Can you feel any more grief right now? All right, just let yourself feel it. Hope you let it go before I even got to the questions. Okay, see how it feels now. What's your now feeling?
Better.
Better? Okay, just check. Let's take one more check.
Okay.
Just see if there's any more grief. Can you feel any more grief right now? Okay, you released it. Terrific. Good.
Every day he has something different to say. You know, and you never know what to expect from him, because sometimes he'll come in and he's like really cold. You know, he'll be really rude and crude. And the next day, or like 5 minutes later, he can come back in for another cup of coffee, and he's the nicest man you'd ever want to meet. And so I never know whether to put my guard up or to, you know, go with the flow. You know, I don't want to repeat some of the things he said.
That's okay.
You know, but he not only uses it on me, but every other girl who works there.
Right.
And I've come real close to just giving him one heck of a piece of my mind.
Right.
You know.
Yes.
I mean, you don't. If my daddy was there, boy. You know.
I understand.
So that's
Right.
one.
Now, just as you talk about it, see, by the way, when I say to focus on your feeling, it's good to focus in this area, but just see what your feeling is. Is it an anger feeling? All right. Just let yourself feel it for a moment. Just really get in touch with the feeling.
Do I have to say anything?
No.
Because I could really say some
No,
things
it's okay.
right now.
No, you don't have to express it. I just want you to just really let yourself feel it. Just let yourself feel the anger. Okay. Could you let it go? Could you?
Not right now. I don't think I could.
Okay. And just stay with the questions anyway. Would you?
Yes.
When?
Right now.
Okay. Go back to the feeling. Just let yourself feel the anger. Now, could you let it go? Could you?
Feel a little lighter.
Okay, would you? When?
Now.
Okay, see how it feels now.
I don't feel it's tight.
Yes, you release some of it. Okay, but see, now just feel the anger that's left. Just let yourself feel it. Could you let it go? Would you? When? Okay. All right. See if you can feel any more anger right now.
I'm still a little tense, like through my shoulders.
Well, just let yourself feel the feeling. Just feel the anger. Could you let it go? Was that a yes?
Yeah.
Okay, would you?
Feel a little lighter.
Yeah. When? Okay. How does it feel now?
A lot better.
A lot better. Okay. Just feel you're now feeling again. Just check to see if there's any more anger.
I can see him, but I'm not angry.
Okay, great. So you let it go. Okay. Good. Now, so what's your feeling now when you think of him? What's your feeling towards him?
I don't particularly care for him, but I don't hate him.
Right. Well, that's certain. Would you say that's a gain from where you started out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes you will feel a release leave, but don't wait to feel something physical. You don't always have a physical sensation when you release and when you use the technique. If you're waiting to feel something all the time, that's going to hold you back. Sometimes it's very subtle, especially at first. So don't worry if you're not feeling a lot of physical sensations. It might not be that way for you. So let us all do some releasing now with our home viewer. Just those of you here in the class, follow along with whatever feeling you're feeling at the moment, and as I work and release with our home viewer. So just get comfortable and let's do some releasing together. Okay. For those of you at home, let me give you a couple of ideas of suggestions that perhaps you could use. You may be aware of a feeling there right now that you'd like to release, but otherwise you could think of maybe how you feel about the class so far, or the tapes. Also, maybe if you have a question. Behind every question, there's a feeling. And so you can use that to aid your releasing also. Let's just start. So just allow yourself to focus on whatever you're feeling right now in the moment. Just take a look on the chart in front of you and see where you would put that feeling. Under which category? Would it be the apathy, grief, lust, anger? Just see where you would find it. And when you've identified that feeling, just allow yourself to feel it. Now, could you let go of that feeling, whatever it is? If you could let it go, would you? And if you would let it go, when would you let it go? Okay. And go back to it. Just allow yourself to see if there's any more of that feeling there. And just let yourself feel it. Could you let go of that feeling? Would you? When would you let it go? And look again. See if you can feel more of that feeling there. Allow yourself to feel the peace that's remaining. Just see, can you feel it? Could you let it go? It's just a feeling. Would you let that feeling go? And when would you let it go? Okay, good. Probably most of that feeling has gone by now. You may want to look and see if there's another feeling there that you're aware of. Just think about how you feel about the tape so far. And allow yourself to focus on whatever feeling is there now. If it helps you to think of a specific other than that, then please feel free to do so. And you may need to look on the chart again if it helps you to identify where it is under which emotion. Okay, but just let yourself feel that feeling, whatever it is. Could you let it go? Would you let that feeling go? And when would you let it go? And just check inside again and feel any remainder of that feeling. Could you let it go? Remember, it's just a feeling. Would you? When would you let it go? Don't need it anymore. Okay. You're probably feeling a lot lighter by now. If for some reason you're not sure whether you're releasing, that's often the case at first. Don't worry about it. You'll find just as you use it and you practice, it will feel less subtle and you'll get a much better idea as you're using the technique.
Okay, what we'll be doing now is we'll be working on the first of many release sheets. As I mentioned earlier, the release sheets are the most important part of this class. Your work on these sheets is how you'll really make the method solid for yourself. It's the way that you'll learn how to use the method. So open your workbooks to the sheet that says, what do I want to change in my life? And those of you at home do the same thing. Now what I'd like you to do is take a few moments and list some of the situations, some of the people, or some of the problems in your life that you're wanting to change. And we can take a few minutes for that. Just list some of the situations, people, or problems in your life that you're wanting to change. And then after you've made your list, we'll work on it together. Now that you've listed some of the things in your life that you'd like to change, what we'll be doing in a moment is working on the sheet together. Now, how you work on it is very simple. You focus on one situation at a time. You write down what you see what you're now feeling is about that particular situation. Then you write it down in the column that says, what is my now feeling? After you write it down, you just allow yourself to feel it, then you allow yourself to let it go. And you keep doing that until you let it go completely. Once you've completely let it go, you give yourself a check in the let go column. Then you go back and focus on the same situation or person or incident that you're wanting to change, and you see what your feeling is now about it. You go through the same thing, you release that to completion, give yourself a check in the let go column once you've fully let it go, and then you keep doing that back and forth on that same topic until you feel good about it. Once you feel good about it, you give yourself a check in the feel good column, and then you can move on to the next item on your list. So who has something they'd like to release? Yes, Rodney.
Yes. Under these situations, presently where I work, it's taking me longer to get things done than I would like to.
Mm-hmm.
One of the problems I have is I'm a controller for a company, and I'm responsible for putting out financial statements, and I rely on other people within the organization to get me information.
Mm-hmm.
And for about 3 months now, I haven't been getting that information on a timely basis, and consequently, that's one of the factors that's causing me to spend maybe 60 hours at my job a week, or instead of 40, which is what I would consider a better balance in my life. So it's creating a lot of frustration for me.
Okay, so frustration, is that an apathy, a grief, a fear, lust, anger?
Frustration, I think, goes back to, and this is the same on the chart here, back to anger.
Okay.
To get mad about it.
Okay, did you write down anger already?
Yes, I did.
All right, so just allow yourself to feel that anger feeling. Could you let it go?
Yes, I could.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
Now.
Okay. Now just feel whatever's left of the anger. Feel the remaining anger. Could you let it go?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
No.
Okay. How does it feel now?
Feels better.
Feels better?
Yes.
Okay, so you can give yourself a check for letting go of the anger. Now check to see if there's any, to look at that situation again with those people holding back the information or not giving it to you in a timely manner, and see what your now feeling is about it.
It's better.
What?
It's a better feeling.
Oh.
It's less not allowing it to bother me as much.
Okay, is there still some botheration though?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, and what feeling is that?
Still some residue or still some frustration that they may still want to hold it back.
Okay.
Or not want it
Right.
provided as timely basis, and I may end up having to compensate for it.
And is that was that more anger or lust or
Still,
what is it?
Frustration and anger.
Okay, so just allow you write down. I would write it down again. I think what happened is you let go of some of the anger. And a little more came up when I asked you about it again. I said about those people holding back the information. I may have helped you bring up a little more of it. So just allow yourself to feel that anger. Could you let it go?
Yes, I could.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
Now.
Okay, feel the anger again. Just really allow yourself to feel it. Could you let it go?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
Now.
Okay, how does it feel now?
Feels better, more peaceful.
More peaceful? Okay, good. So you can give yourself 2 checks. One in the let go column and one in the feel good column. Great. Thanks, Robin. Who else would like to work on the sheet? Mary.
I would. I'd like to work on my financial situation.
Mm-hmm.
I have some fear, I think, attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as making too much money, because others will then be jealous of me, especially one woman at work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I have some fear with that.
All right. So are you aware of any of the fear right now?
Yeah.
All right. So write that down. Did you write it down?
No.
Write down fear. And just allow yourself to feel that fear feeling. Just really allow yourself to feel it.
Okay.
Could you let it go? Could you?
Yes.
Would you?
Yes.
When?
Now.
Okay. Now feel it one more time. Just allow yourself to feel that fear feeling.
It feels like it's got some guilt there too, you know, feeling guilty about having
guilty?
too much.
Oh,
She
okay.
doesn't.
So did you let go of the fear?
I think I did. I think there's guilt.
Okay, so I'll give yourself
Yeah,
a check then for
yeah.
letting go of the fear.
Okay.
Now the guilt is coming up. Now see where that fits. Trace that to the underlying emotion.
I think it's in grief.
In grief?
Yeah.
All right, so just allow yourself to feel that grief feeling.
Okay.
It's okay, just allow yourself to feel it. Just really allow it up. It's okay. It's only a feeling. Just let it up. Could you allow it to release? Could you?
Yeah.
Would you? When?
Now.
All right, now just feel the grief again. Just allow yourself to feel that grief feeling. And just really allow yourself to feel it. Remember, it's just a feeling. Could you let it go? Could you?
I could.
Would you? I think you just let go of some of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would.
Okay, when?
Now.
Okay, good. Well, that's what, you took some of it off. Now just feel the rest of the grief. Just really allow yourself to feel it. Could you let it go? Could you?
Yeah, I could.
Would you?
Yeah.
When?
Now.
Okay, how does it feel now?
I feel a whole lot lighter.
A whole lot lighter? Okay.
Yeah.
And just check. I think we should do one more release on the grief. And it still seems like there might be a little bit of a residue there.
Yeah.
And just allow yourself to feel it.
Try to suppress it, I
Right.
think.
Rather than suppressing it, why don't we just let it go?
Okay.
That's better. So just
Okay.
allow yourself to feel the remaining grief. It's better out than in.
Okay.
Could you let it go? Could you?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, some of it.
When?
Now.
Okay, good.
I think I released a big chunk of it.
Okay.
I think there's a little bit, but
You want to keep going on your own?
yeah.
Okay. That's fine. I think you can give yourself 2 checks, one for feeling good and one for letting go. And by the way, it's always your choice. If you ever get to a point where you want to keep going on your own, always feel free to say that.
Telling me that I release some more.
I know. Leave me alone. I'm going to do it myself. Well, that's fine. It's a do-it-yourself process. You know, again, you'll see that one of the things that Nikki and I will be doing throughout this class, for those of you here and also those of you at home, our job is to work ourselves out of a job. Might sound funny, but that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to become obsolete. In fact, as the course goes on, you'll notice even us asking you the releasing questions will get less and less, because you'll be able to get right to that process of letting it go without us needing to do anything. You'll just do it internally. And you'll find also you'll be needing the releasing questions less and less. You'll just be able to tap that natural ability and just let it go. So, I think it'd be nice to give you a chance at home to work with this sheet. So I'm sure you may have done some releasing already as others have been working, but pick a new topic and take a look at that topic and see what your now feeling is about it. Now, wherever it fits on the chart, just see where it is. See if it's an apathy, a fear, a grief, whatever it is. Just allow yourself to identify the feeling on the chart. And once you've identified it, write it down under what is my now feeling. Okay. Now just allow yourself to feel your now feeling. Could you let it go? Would you? When? Now just allow yourself to feel your now feeling again. Feel the remainder of whatever that feeling was. Just allow yourself to feel it. Could you let it go? Would you? When? Now again, just allow yourself to feel your now feeling about that topic. Just really allow yourself to feel it. Could you let it go? Would you? When? Now, if you've let go of that feeling, give yourself a check in the let go column. And focus again on that particular topic. Just allow yourself to focus on that topic. And see what your now feeling is about it. And again, see if you can find it on the chart. See if it's an apathy, a grief, a fear, lust, anger, pride, whatever it is. Just allow yourself to feel it, and then just write it down. Now, could you allow it to release? Would you? When? Now just allow yourself to feel the remainder of that feeling. Just allow yourself to feel it. Could you let it go? Would you? When? Take another look inside and just allow yourself to feel your now feeling. Could you let it go? Would you? When? Now, if you've let it go completely, give yourself a check in the let go column. And if you're starting to feel good about that topic, give yourself a check in the feeling good column. Now, if you need more time, would be a good time to pause the tape and continue working on this sheet. The more you put into these release sheets, the more you'll get out of them.
I used to be a real rigid person, and I have learned to relax a lot. And I think I was sort of a heart attack waiting to happen, and that'll never happen now.
But I'm sleeping deeper, and that's great for me especially, because I don't usually dream, sleep. I don't dream either yet. I'm looking forward to it. And also, just when I feel tired and I'm working on people, and sometimes I'll get pain in my back because I'm bending over all the time, and either that or if it's a really high person, I have to work differently, and I release that pain, so it makes it easier for me to work on it. So, and I do it kind of naturally now because I've just started doing it all the time.
Good.
So.
Yeah, that's the whole idea.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm prone to having migraine headaches because I hope that now I'll not have that. But on Wednesday I felt a migraine headache coming on, and I basically, it took me all day, but I fought it off, and it never got full blown like they normally do. Mm-hmm. And I was even able to eat lunch, which normally when I get a headache I get a whiff of food and I'm gonzo,
It comes right back. So.
But I was really surprised that I was just able to relax and focus. I got rid of it myself.
That's great.
Which doesn't happen very often.
Yes.
But it will more often.
I'm easier on myself since I've taken the course, and I think I'm easier on other people. I think I had a lot of anger most of my life, and I released a lot of that when I first took the course. And I changed my personality. It changed it so much that people at work had come up to me and asked me what I had done, what had happened to me, because they noticed such a significant change. So I think that was pretty significant.
Well, you all are doing really well. This is a new process, so in the beginning it might be a little difficult, you might not be that sure of yourself, but I just want to assure you that whatever you've accomplished so far is just the beginning. Remember, we're reversing a lifelong habit of holding on, of suppressing the feelings or expressing them. So it might take a while before you feel totally facile and comfortable with the releasing process. But remember, it's like a muscle that you haven't used in a while. The more you exercise it, the stronger it will get. The more you work with this technique, the easier and easier it will be for you to do. And also, as we're taking the first long break here, it's very important to keep practicing the technique, and you don't have to wait for something big to come hit you in the face. It doesn't have to, you don't have to wait for big feelings. Practice on small things. Someone says something that you don't like. If you're going out now to have a bite to eat, maybe you'll end up at a restaurant and the food doesn't come out quite fast enough. See what feeling comes up about that. Or maybe you're about to go out on the highway and go driving. Someone might cut you off. That sometimes brings up a feeling. So whatever it is in your life that brings up the feeling, large or small, start getting in the habit of letting it go. Remember, you're always doing something with those feelings. What we did up until we start releasing is we're either suppressing or expressing them most of the time. Now you're learning an alternative. So the more you practice it, the more you'll get out of it. So take at least an hour and a half before working with the next tape. And we'll start back in a little while. Thank you.